we are now at the final session. These 5 days, I hope you have enjoyed them. And in this session, while I try to give an overview. It will help me if you type your questions in the chat, because then I will be able to take your questions or even mold what I am saying depending on the kind of doubts or the kind of questions people have in their mind. Is that all right? So if you have any questions about overall issues or anything, how to connect this to college, how to connect it with life, how one session is connected with another session, any kind of questions or doubts you have in your mind, please feel free to ask in the chat. I will try to answer. It will help me actually in answering your concerns rather than only say what I am saying. All right. So you will notice that in this workshop, let me keep my chat open on the side so that I know if there are questions which are coming. I can't seem to be able to do this very well. 1 minute.
Just wait for some time. There is some network issue.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
I have joined again. I lost the somehow clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so chat I clicked and that caused a problem. 1 minute. So I've done it again, and this time there was no problem. All right. So I will not be able to see the chat myself.
Otherwise, I will read Q&A for you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. So if you can interrupt and say in between if there are any questions, that will be helpful to me. So over these last 5 days, we started with what is the purpose of the student induction program. And if you'll remember, on one hand, it is to make the student more comfortable. After all, coming into a new institution, a new atmosphere, so making the student feel more comfortable, more at home, and also then try to enlarge the vision. And one of the most important things is connecting with the faculty member. So this is the faculty student connect that can bring about a change. That is what will allow us to move out of where we stand today. So that's how we started. And to build this faculty student connect, there is this idea of group discussions, and the group discussions are not just about any random thing, but it is on issues of life that are important, particularly important for the student, and in another way they are also important for the faculty member. So as we discuss things about life and about issues that are real to us today, we connect better with each other and we learn the thinking of each other. We understand where the other person is, and in that process we also act as support group. So we actually become a mentee group together with a mentor. So that is the idea. And while doing so, we also enlarge our vision. We also try to examine what kinds of assumptions have been planted in us in all these years, and then we should be able to address, we should be able to analyze, we should be able to verify our assumptions, and those which fail the verification test will get rejected, and those which pass then become knowledge. So from assumptions to knowledge, that is the process which can also take place. And the assumptions can be about life, about role of money, role of job, uh, how we view other people, assumptions about relationships, assumptions about education system, assumptions about society. So it's a very wide canvas. These assumptions may come from various areas, and by taking those as a part of discussion, we are hopefully enlarging our worldview. We are able to then not talk in a narrow platform but on a wide canvas, and this can lead to a more holistic vision of life. So that is the purpose of the student induction program, and in particular the group discussions on universal human values. After that, there are discussions on process of education. I'll try to share with you the um, screen about the. Let's look at the program as we go look at them. Uh, so can you? Yeah. So I've shared my screen, and can you see the program now? Program schedule.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is where then we start talking about process of education, assumptions, uh, four orders in nature, and how the three orders have a definite conduct. The fourth order, namely the knowledge order or human beings, our conduct is not definite, it is indefinite, which is causing the harm to environment, it is causing strife, conflicts and war. So this is a large session where large means it covers a very wide canvas. And then having done that, or having shown a glimpse of this, that is what can be done in 1.5 hours. Then what is my role in it? So role of the self. So you see, when we want to make our life better, society better, our family life better, uh, it is our role, that is what we want to learn about. So on one hand, we become aware of where the problem lies in the human order and how that problem can be taken care of. But more importantly, what can I do about it? And in particular, what can I do? Uh, I'm sorry, I seem to have,
Yes,
I can't,
it's
1
working,
minute.
sir. You want to scroll, huh?
So you can enable editing.
There is one option in top, enable editing. Yeah, it's fine now.
It's fine.
Yes, 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 yes.
Let me make it smaller so that I can see what is going on also. So, okay, so things are fine. Let me go back. Okay, so you will see on your image my other screen also, the two things together, but I think that will be a little helpful to me, so I know that I'm still connected and doing all right. So role of the self. So ultimately, the issue is, what can I do about something? What role can I play? And this is where, when we come to our role, we come to what kind of assumptions we are bound with. Before we can talk of our role, we need to understand what are our assumptions that we are working with. So role of money, role of physical facilities, that we have assumed role of relationship, role of understanding. So all these aspects which are so crucial are brought together in this session 6. And a wrong assumption in any one of these affects my identification of my role, because I might think this such and such thing is important. Role of money is very important, more important than relationship. So what happens now? I view the world from these spectacles, and once I view the world in that fashion, I'm going to miss out on reality. I'm going to create. I'm going to have problems as well as create problems. So I'll have problems within myself. In that state, I will also create problems for others. So we need to set right, or at least become aware of what assumptions we are holding. And really, the first step is identifying that we are having such assumptions in us. Most of the time, we are not even aware of our assumptions. And once we become aware of our assumptions, then we can examine them. So the process of verification or examination is the first step in verification. We examine our assumptions, then we test them. Do they work? Are they true? So this is where this workshop comes as a torchlight, as something that throws light on reality. And of course, there is no insistence that you believe what is being said. The only expectation is that you will verify, you will examine, then you will test, and then reach a conclusion. So we hope that through this process of verification, through observation, through examination, through testing, through thought, these are all the ways of verifying. So we do that, and in that process we can become more clear about our role. And as some of these assumptions go away, our role becomes clearer and not very limiting. So we realize that we live a holistic life. Our life touches all aspects of reality, whether it is myself or my family or my institution or my city or country or the world, and similarly my relationship with nature. So my role gets determined once I understand these things. So we talk about these things here, and then we go to self and body. So human being has two kinds of needs: needs of the self and needs of the body. And they are two different needs, and both of them must be satisfied. So we do not say needs of the body are less important, not important. We say both the needs are there and both have to be satisfied. So needs of the body would be food, clothing, shelter, and needs of the self would be trust, respect, affection, uh, love, and so on, peace. So needs of the self have to be satisfied and needs of the body have to be satisfied. Of course, you would have made a list of your own desires, and you can now go through those desires. You would have already gone through those desires, through that list of desires, by classifying them as to whether they belong to the self or they belong to the body. Is it a need of the self or is it a need of the body? So through such a classification, we become clearer about what to do, what role to play. So if I want respect, and if I believe that respect comes from money, then I will naturally put my energies behind money, because even though I want respect and not money per se. So this separation becomes important. The moment I realize these are two different things, money is for physical facilities and respect comes not out of physical facilities, but by my conduct, by how I conduct myself, what I do, how I live my life. And when I live my life, it is at all four levels: at the level of the self, level of the family, level of the society, and level of nature. So you see that the needs, when I classify them as need of self and need of body, that is when I can begin to decide what I should do, what role I should play. So what I should do comes out of my understanding. And if I have a wrong assumption, I may pick a role which is not related. It will not help me fulfill my desires. So and the desires are at all the four levels. So it is not just in a selfish, narrow, my own self, but at the level of the world, at the level of society, society being meaning city, country, internationally, the whole world, and similarly for nature. So, so this classification, clear-cut demarcation of the two desires is very important. We do not say one is more basic. We do not say there are some basic desires, there are some primary and some secondary desires. No, we take your word for it. There are needs of the self, needs of the body, desire of the self and needs of the body. Both of them are basic. Both of them must be satisfied. So this is how the workshop tries to present things to you. And in doing so, we need to understand ourselves. So that is a starting point. So understanding oneself, and this is where activities of the self help us understand ourselves. So activities of the self at the 5 levels, at the level of man, vritti and chit, and then buddhi and atma. So at all the 5 levels, the activities, and each of those activities plays a very distinctive role. One plays a role in tasting, in selection, the other plays a role in analysis and comparison, tulnatmak. And then comes chitta, for which there is no good English word. It does the task of imaging, where we have chitran, image of what we want to do, what we want to achieve, etc. So these activities of the self help us understand ourselves better and relate our desires with ourselves. So this is where it can help there. And then of course we took a break in content, and we said, now given that all this content has been delivered in this workshop, how would we relate this content with students? So this was the session on student mentoring. What kind of topics do we discuss with students? How do we present those topics? What to expect? What kind of questions? What kind of issues are raised? And how do we deal with them? So that was part of this special session 1. And then on the 4th day, we start on human relationships. Okay, starting with the definiteness of human conduct and happiness and prosperity. We come to relationships, and in the relationships then we talk about trust and respect, and then gratitude and other values. So we look at these values, these 9 values in the relationship, of which 3 are covered and in some detail, others only very briefly. So how these values are within me, so I become aware of them, and what can I do to be able to live those values? How do I? So what does living the value means? It means I am doing justice in my relationship. I am doing nyaya in my relationship, which means I fulfill the expectations. So in the relationship, there are some natural expectations. I am not talking of abnormal or non-natural expectations. I am talking of natural expectations. So out of those natural expectations, how do I fulfill? How do I, recognizing my role means in this case, fulfilling the natural expectations in any relationship, in all my relationships. So how do I fulfill? How do I, do things so that I fulfill the expectations of the other in my relationship, and then do an evaluation whether I was successful or not. And if I am successful, it gives me mutual happiness. I am happy, the other person is also happy. So this is the part where we talk of relationships. And this relationship, I want to say that if we want to bring about a change in the atmosphere of our higher education, in atmosphere of our colleges, where students become more free, more open, more frank, but also more responsible, then it will be, the bedrock will be this relationship. Of course, understanding is the real thing which the person has, but if there is a relationship with teacher, then the student can clarify lack of understanding, or the student can discuss and through a process of dialogue clarify, and that is also a learning experience for the teacher. So this relationship between student and teacher is the most important element that allows us to reach our goal, namely to gain an understanding and then live and act based on that understanding. After that, there was a session this morning, fifth day, again on mentoring, where I think the relationships were discussed in great detail. I don't need to repeat it. And after that, there was a session on harmony in nature and existence, how there is harmony in nature, and how we as human beings can play our role, how Gyanavastha or knowledge order can play a role in existence and live in harmony with nature, which means all the other three orders of nature, material order, plant order or pranic order, and animal order. Okay? So we then would be able to live in that fashion. So you will, and here again the stress is on living. So if I am wasting, I'm not living in harmony with nature because I think everybody else is doing it, what can I do? Then this is where I have to find my role and what and uh, play my role. So if it means I'm wasting electricity or electricity is being wasted, then I do things so that electricity waste does not take place. At least it gets reduced in my institution. Then wastage of water, again water is used optimally, and when we come to harmful substances like plastic, etc., then we avoid use of such material. So my role, even though it may be a small role at this stage, but I know that some of the people, some of the students will, as they as they grow up, lead a more public life or get more involved with the society or in a company or wherever. So they can play a very important role in in trying to live according to harmony with nature, and through their profession, through their social responsibility, work for this. So this is where uh, these different sessions, even though they are covering different facets, they are all related. They are all talking about coexistence and harmony. So coexistence and harmony at all the four levels. So coexistence or harmony at the level of self. This is what we, did in the first 2 days in some ways, and then harmony in relationship, which means harmony in family. And as I keep mentioning, my workplace and people around me there are also like a family. So so harmony in the family would, or harmony in relationship would also cover that. And then in this workshop, there's not enough time to cover society. But regarding society, I think there will be a next level of workshop in which we can talk about society. And then we come to nature, so harmony in society and harmony with nature. So harmony at all the four levels, this is what we want to achieve. And if we achieve it for ourselves, the good part is we are happy. And people who come in contact with us, hopefully we transmit that happiness. So, so this is what this workshop tries to do. And how to convey this to students, and that is where there were 2 sessions on that. There is a mentor's manual which gives you step by step guide, mentions all these issues that come in discussions with students, how to draw their attention to specific things. Many of those things are given there. So let me take questions now so that uh, I can address concerns that people have. So Dr. Yogesh.
Yes, yes, sir. There are three questions. First question: students from rural background are tough to connect due to language barriers. So we encourage to use regional languages in professional courses.
So what I would say, I believe that language is very important, and everybody knows their mother tongue. Education should be in mother tongue. Medium of instruction should be mother tongue. However, English or any other language can be taught as a language so that the student can interact more globally and more nationally. That is a separate issue. But basic instruction should be in mother tongue or in the regional language. So what we have done in my own, when I have, as a part of Triple IT as well as IIT BHU, uh, we recommend, it is also recommended to AICTE and UGC, that if possible conduct your group discussion in the regional language, in the language which is of your region, because most of the students or all of the students will be knowing it. And in case in your group there is some student who doesn't know the regional language, you take care of him or her. This can be done by doing bilingual discussions, um, getting some people within the group to help translate and so on. So language should not be an issue. Making people feel comfortable so that they are able to express themselves, I think that is the most important part. So that we should put our effort there rather than bring in this issue of language and um, where people feel not so comfortable. Yes.
Okay. One more question. Sir, how many times in a year we should conduct this course for students?
So this course or this group discussions are recommended as soon as the student enters. So even if the student is entering in an online mode, these the groups should be formed, and the discussions should take place in an online manner. And after the student comes physically, then one can meet and have periodic discussions at that time also at the level of the group. And if college decides that it will continue to have these group discussions, I think it will be very good. Now, this is one question that comes to me, is what should be the follow-up? Should it be done only once when they come, or should it be followed up? I feel it must be followed up. So certainly it should be done immediately, but in some of the guides that have been prepared about what to do, there are samples about what can be done in later semesters. So I would say second semester, one should continue these group discussions. Not only this, at the start of the second semester, it is suggested. It is suggested that you can hold 2 days of a workshop with all the students together or divided in groups, where you know where sharing takes place, as well as content that was delivered when they had come in its salient points are revisited, and in the light of those salient points, they can do their sharing. So this can be done in the second semester. And in the AICT curriculum, it is recommended that in the even semester, namely the second or the fourth semester, there should be a full-blown course on universal human values. So if such a course takes place, let's say in the fourth semester, then in second year also there is place for it. And my own feeling that the college should take steps so that these groups continue for throughout the duration of the stay of the student. So the groups continue not just in first year, but they continue in second, third, and fourth year. And they meet periodically. Periodicity is left to the college or to the department where these groups are formed. So that would provide a follow-up, and I think that will be important.
Okay, sir. One more question. How to lead in unsupported work environment?
Beg your pardon, how to lead?
Lead in unsupported work environment.
You'll be surprised when you feel that the work environment does not support these activities. I think it is frequently because of lack of awareness or some assumptions, wrong assumptions. So you should figure out a way by which people become aware of what it is about. And as people figure out, then they will create support for you. The environment will change. So our role as faculty mentors is not just as mentors to students, but in helping create a new environment, which is a more supporting environment for these activities. So that is what we need to do. So main work we have to do is on ourselves, so that we are able to, create more conducive conditions for these activities. Yeah, any other questions?
One question. How can I join this program with your team? I want to be part of this work.
Of course, we are a large country, and certainly, so we are all a team. We are all a team trying to change the world, trying to change education. Now, how do we connect and act together? So I think this is where local models are the ones which will actually work. Others may not turn out to be feasible. So local models would be, so if from your college, if there are people who have come to this workshop, you should start meeting every week. Don't wait for induction program to start or new students to join. You start meeting weekly and you do sharing. You talk about how you are sharing issues in your own life. The other person, a faculty member, can do the same. And as you share your experiences, you will find solutions. You'll become better prepared, not only in dealing with the problem you might be facing, but also in more knowledgeable and then conducting the group discussions later on when the induction program starts. So that is the first thing you can do. The other thing could be, if there are more than one college nearby, and let's say the student induction program is taking place, you can be in touch with each other and again share experiences. Sharing of experiences locally has the advantage that you know best. You know what is happening in your local scenario in most detail. Anyone from outside, I or any one of our other resource persons or Dr. Yogesh, we are at a distance, so we may not know the specific issues which are important in your situation. So when you connect locally, then people are more aware and you will come up with solutions that are feasible in that given situation. You'll also be able to address the main issues that arise in that situation. And then once you are doing it with associated colleges, nearby colleges, then certainly we should have a regional forum and then finally a national forum. So we should have regional workshops in time to come and even a national workshop. But the regional workshop is where the action will be, where you will face issues that can be addressed perhaps more effectively. And national level affects the national policy, and policy already there are many good elements in the policy. It will get fine tuned as it goes along. But the regional level, you will come up with very practical things to be done for your region. So that is how I see we as a team can work together. But if you have any issue, if you have a question in your mind while when you go back and you are conducting the induction program, please do send it. Do send it to Dr. Yogesh, send it to any one of us, and we will try to help. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. A few questions.
Yes.
Can't we get the good speaker from your side during student induction program?
So rather than good speakers, we want speakers or people who can have a dialogue. So from speaker side, uh, it will be, we are a large country, so many colleges. There are, upwards of, I believe, 30,000 colleges. 5,000 are technical colleges, 5,000 plus. So one way is that once your college shows that it is doing something very seriously, then we can come and pitch in also as to how to take it to the next level. And even there, the role of the teachers will be the most important, because you are the ones who will connect with your students. And I think that connect is far more important than anything else. But if you want to have some lectures, certainly lectures, if they can help in this whole process. There are, of course, recorded lectures which can also be used today. Uh, Corona has suddenly shown us that the whole world is one. We are all near each other, whether in one region or another region, or one country or another country, we are all one. Of course, the local people, nearer we are physically, the cultural part will be similar, the issues might be similar, but otherwise you can make use of both recorded lectures or live lectures if possible.
Okay, sir. One last question, I think. How can value education be inculcated in colleges or university curriculum?
That we have already said. Student induction program is the start. It is the first step. It is not the final step. But I think it's an important first step, because it connects, it allows people to see what it means. People have many misconceptions about such programs, about universal human values program. They think it is like moral science, but no, it is much more, and it is not based on do's and don'ts. So the methodology is very important. So one is the content and the other is the methodology. Content is at all the four levels: harmony, how it is all connected with each other, and that is coexistence. And then methodology, how do you convey this? So this conveying is through dialogue. So methodology part is also important. So both these things uh, other people would be able to see when the induction program runs. And as we run it well, as we hold the group discussions well, then the message will go, and then people will see what it is, what it really is. And I think that can bring about a change in atmosphere in time to come.
One question, how can it be connected at school level?
I think schools must also start such programs. They earlier schools were already having many of these elements, but unfortunately even the schools are affected by this IIT syndrome. And IIT syndrome is in some ways harmed the education. I'm not saying IITs have harmed, it is the IIT syndrome that has harmed. Make a distinction. So this IIT syndrome means put the students into learning science and mathematics, and there is no other subject, and there is no other life except going through IIT and becoming a servant in some company. So this is the IIT syndrome and the IIT part. So unfortunately, this has harmed our education system. It has certainly harmed and put pressure, unnecessary pressure on our young generation. So we should, as a nation, we have to come out of this syndrome. And then we would be able to place the IITs correctly, science correctly, humanities correctly, and how education must have all the different elements and it should connect with life. New education policy, we all hope that we'll move in that direction. But let us see. Let's see what happens. And certainly, schools system can also incorporate elements from here. For example, the Delhi government has introduced school education. They introduced a subject called happiness curriculum in the schools. And one of the results of that initiative, plus I'm sure other initiatives in helping the government schools, performance of government schools has just improved by leaps and bounds. And overall, the last 4 years, the government schools are now doing better than private schools. It's almost not believable, because the students who started, leaving government system and going to private schools. So people who are left in the government schools were those who are from very underprivileged backgrounds. Their home did not have study atmosphere, educational atmosphere. So now, with these changes, the atmosphere changed in the school, and the government schools have outperformed that. So this here is a proof that if you bring in these elements into school education, not only it will lead to better human beings, but they will also be better in their subjects. When we say schools are doing better, we are using the conventional definition of schools doing better, namely students are not failing, more students are passing, those who are passing with higher marks, and so on. So these are your conventional yardsticks. So even on conventional yardsticks, the results are very clear. The results that come when you take such initiatives and introduce them in school education. So hopefully our school education will introduce this on its own, and higher education, the effect of doing so in higher education will also become more visible. So I'm sure that future will look better than what it is.
I think there are no more.
Okay.
Okay, last question. After that, we will proceed ahead. I think the whole society to included to this type of program. How can it be possible?
If we train the next generation is the next society. So if we do our job well as teachers, we will change the world, we'll change our society. But even now, I think the effect of this real change that happens in education will reach society. We don't have to wait for the full generation to start leading the society and bring about a change. Even before that, things will start happening, good things will start happening. So there'll be workshops, there will be connect programs, the educational systems connect with society. And today, in society there are large numbers of people who are well off and they don't have much work. The work they have, they feel is not fulfilling, it is not satisfying, because after all, human being expresses himself or herself at multiple levels and not just as become a money making machine. So there are many people who are looking for such opportunities for expression. So they would of course have to understand things. They might have their assumptions which they may need to clear and reject the wrong assumptions. But slowly this process of dissemination will take place even in society. And in education, we should provide a role for people like that. So that reminds me, at IIT BHU in particular, uh, uh, we tried to involve faculty wives, and it had a tremendous impact. It was extremely useful. So there were about 20 faculty wives who were involved. Out of, there were 55 groups. So these 20 faculty wives who were involved, they were given some, I think 7 or 8 groups finally, and there were 2 mentors in each group. And they provided, if you like, the motherly touch and the touch which is sometimes missing in a very professional male dominated population. So they provided that motherly touch to the new students. And some of them tell me even today that the students whom they mentored, they have now graduated, they've gone away, but they still call them and call them like mother and ask for their well-being, and they express what they learned from them and so on. So this is where the society is coming inside the educational system in helping. And as the educational system, so for to be able to do this, the faculty spouses had to go through several workshops so that they understand the content, and then they participated over a 2-month period, weekly meetings about how to deliver this. And this was done in 2014, 2013-14, but largely in 2014. And so this is where educational institution is not just transmitting to students, but also transmitting to society outside. And I'm sure there will be many other ways of connecting through social organizations, through social service organizations, and so on. So all that can happen. And what the content that we are talking about here, the methodology we are talking about here, will get transmitted to society uh, even now, starting soon. Okay.
Okay, sir. I think we can stop here since there is no connected question.
Okay. So then we'll stop the question hour and
Yes.
post workshop instructions. If you want, I can go through them quickly, or if
Yes.
you are short of time, then we can people can read them.
We will be sharing with all the participants. This will be shared, but you can brief. You want to share.
So maybe I'll just spend 2-3 minutes very quickly. So these are the instructions for post workshop. What to do after attending the workshop? I think the first.
Share your screen, sir. Sir, please share your screen one.
Acha, it is not getting shared.
Yes.
1 minute. Okay. Okay, can you see it now? Can you see?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, all right. So the first thing is, after going back, of course, what you do in your family, I'm sure you'll be sharing things. Some of the people tell me they are sharing with their family members every day about what they discussed. But besides your family, you should go and meet your principal or the director and brief them about the program that you have attended, give them an overview and share with them the copies about the guide for student induction program and also the mentor's manual. So share it with them, tell them what this program entails. So of course they will ask you what about the student induction program. So you can connect with the student induction program and say that the student induction program has these various components. The guide that is there, this Diksharam guide on student induction program gives all these things in detail. And one of very important thing would be that you should not be coordinating the student induction program. You should be coordinating the group discussion and universal human values. The student induction program is best, coordinated by the vice principal or the dean, either dean of student affairs, student welfare, or dean of academic affairs, or somebody like that. And that responsibility means making sure that all the different activities, whether physical activity, creative arts, each of these activities would be coordinated by their respective department. So if there is a games and sports, they will take care of physical activity. Student welfare would take care of visits by students to nearby places. Lectures by experts might be from Dean of Academic Affairs or somebody who's in charge of lectures, etc. So you will find the natural positions who will take care of these, and the coordination should be done by somebody who is very senior, like vice principal or dean. And you have been trained here for universal human values, and universal human values provides the connect with all the other activities, and most importantly it provides the connect of new students with the respective mentors. So your primary task would be to conduct universal human value group discussions for your own group and also to maintain the mentor-mentee network. So all the different groups which are there, coordinating amongst them. You can hold weekly meetings or even alternate day meetings if you are meeting every day with your group. Then hold maybe 2 meetings a week or of all the mentors. So where the teachers who are conducting the group discussions, they meet, they share about how the group discussion is going and what more needs to be done there. So this will be your primary role. In anticipation of starting this induction program, you can prepare with the faculty members who have attended from your own institution, who have attended this or other FDPs. So you start having weekly meetings with them so that you are better prepared when the new students come. And as I was saying, practice these in living in your own life, with your family, wherever you are, in your department, in your club, in your group, wherever you are. So practice this and you will be able to try to verify things that you have learned here. And this will actually build confidence as well as prepare you for conducting the group discussions with the students. Okay, so thank you. So thank you all. I enjoyed this, and now I believe there will be evaluation, Mulyankan. Over to you, Dr. Yogesh.
Thank you, sir. Now I have already invited few participants in advance for their sharing, and 2 questions I have already told them that they should basically stick their sharing, that they can give their short introduction, and after that they can tell their major achievement or their major learning from this FTP, as well as what is their future plan. Okay, so if anything else you want to add, Rajiv sir?
No, this is good. So what are their major learnings and
Yes.
what are their plans in future? Very good.
Okay. So I think Yogesh Patilji has already unmuted his mic. So Yogesh, see, you want to share?
Hello.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. This is Yogesh Patil from Pune. I am associated with All India Sri Shivaji Memorial Society Institute of Information Technology. Ours is a college which is having legacy associated with it, and we are centrally placed in the city of Pune. So that way, we are having really good access from every corner of the city. That is our advantage, and the legacy is there. So we are basically in the education with the human value to cater the education to common masses, and that way we are having all the values, moral values in place, and we are guided by all our society member, I mean the parent institute, by keeping all those values in mind. I am very much happy to be part of this online FDP, and we are actually looking for to organize this human value FDP for the colleges under University of Pune or any other university, but located nearby Pune, and that way we are in the position to conduct such program for the teaching faculty members, and we are eager rather. So looking forward to hear from you. By attending this program, certainly whatever my perceptions about teaching and mentoring are there are refined once again. And basically, I like the most that I started thinking rationally about every incident taking place either inside the classroom or around me. So the way the FDP has been conducted and the contents covered by all the resource persons are really helpful for living life completely, I can say, and looking for attending in the advanced level FDP on universal human values. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, Yogesh ji, you can mute your mic, please. Dr. Richa,
Thank you so much, all the dignitaries. Thank you, Professor Raji, for such enlightening sessions. And to be very honest, okay, let me first introduce myself. I am Assistant Professor Dr. Richa Kapoor Mehra. At present, I am associated with Amity University, Noida. So what first I'll talk about why I was too much interested in this FDP, because as per UGC mandate of Deeksharam, I am the one who has designed the syllabus of universal human values in my university. So I was too inquisitive to know whether I'm going in the right direction or not. Or secondly, being a faculty for philosophy, I used to ponder upon this question that how I can bring that change. So it has been really insightful, thought-provoking sessions. And though I could not, due to my professional commitments, daily could not attend live sessions, though I used to have a look at the recorded sessions. Secondly, sir, I have been associated with I was one of the organizers for this orientation program, and it, as per the guidelines, it went very smoothly. So my takeaway from this FDP, the first and very important, which I feel, is the relationship aspect which you talked about. So until and unless there is a bonding between the faculty and the teacher, sorry, faculty and students, I think, this is the very primary elementary level which has to be done. And secondly, very important point which you made today, I really like that the difference between school teaching of moral science and human values, because we have been trained in schools where, you know, teacher used to tell us about do's and don'ts. This human value, the intention of this entire program is not that. It is not to tell do's and don'ts to the students, rather to self introspect what has to be done. He has to, an individual has to, not only students but even teachers have to reflect on their actions. Then things will be, we can do wonders. And just to quote Gandhi ji in the end, we can bring change. To seek the change, it has to come from the individual. So I'm looking forward to be part of many such FDPs, sir. And again, once again, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Isha. Next, we have Anupam Sharma. Please unmute your mic.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Anupam Sharma. I am from Maharishi Markandeshwar deemed to be University Mohallana. It is in Haryana. Sir, from this, as this is my first FDP on universal human values. Before joining this FDP, my mind was only like that this FDP will be same as I have attended the previous FDPs on human values, the basic moral values or things. But after joining this universal human values FDP, I have learned one thing, and that is the differentiation in between happiness and continuous happiness. Earlier, for me, it was happiness means happiness, nothing more than that. If I have everything, or I am getting everything, or if I'm talking about my student teacher relationship, if I am imparting the best of my knowledge with my students, that is happiness. But now one thing is clear to me from this FDP is that there is a difference in happiness and in continuous happiness. And second thing I learned about from this FDP is that prosperity. Yes, like sir discussed in his presentations, that both the needs are important, yourself as well as your body needs. But for like prosperity is one thing we generally see that if I have everything in terms of money, in terms of status, it means that we are prosper. But again, my point of view is that if there is a continuous happiness, I can achieve all the things in my life. If I don't have continuous happiness, I cannot achieve anything. And sir, my future plans after attending this FDP is that I want to know more about these universal human values, because I think that attending only one FDP on these deep topics is not enough. So my future plan is that I want to attend these type of FDPs specifically on universal human values, so that I should be more clarified on the points on all the 9 parameters in detail. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the chance in this live session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anupama. Next, we have Dr. Meena. Dr. Meena, please unmute your mic. Meena Panchore. Okay, I think my voice is not reaching to Meena ma'am. Okay, Mr. Abhishek Kumar Sharma, please unmute your mic. Rajiv sir, is my voice coming?
Your voice is coming clearly.
Okay, fine. Mr. Abhilash Kumar Mishra, please unmute your mic. You need to unmute your mic. Yes, fine. If you
Good afternoon,
have
sir.
camera, you can switch on camera also.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So actually, just first of all, good afternoon to all the members who are actually dealing with the faculty development program. Because first question, what is asked? What is your personal achievement from this faculty development program? Actually, I have got much more clarity. Earlier, I don't have clarity or understanding what is right or wrong, whether I have to keep relationship with the other faculty members or not. These things I have cleared when I have done this universal human value program. And second questions is what is your future plans after participating this online FDP? Then I will say I have different plan, because every student have different opinions and different problems. So it depends upon the situation also. But first thing, what I've thought, that first of all, as sir also said, that first of all students should be in comfort zone, then only trust will build. Otherwise it is not possible to build a trust between a student and teachers. And then only a student will start sharing with the problem, and then interaction will smoothly will happen. Then I also believe that every student have unique quality, and based on that unique quality we can filter them, and we can make them better, tell them you should work on it also, so that you can do better in that field, because that is also responsibility of a teacher. Then one thing I want to keep changing in the plan while induction program. So we, whatever sir has discussed, constant happiness, prosperity, these all things coming from the, when mind is healthy, then they will be happy or prosperous. If mind is not happy, means physical activity is also required, means physical means sports or other thing is required, that is also required. Or I believe that today's generations student is quite intelligent than earlier one, and they have number of questions in mind, which which will only come when we will build a trust. And one thing in last questions I want to add, that collaboration means universal human value is beneficial for the society or not, whether it's means useful, because I think it's not a responsibility of individual one person, it's a responsibility of every person to share the happiness and constant happiness to with the others, then only will be enriched. uh, Otherwise it is not possible. If we won't share with the others, means whatever I am feeling happiness, I won't share it, then it won't be, it won't happen. We see the changes in the other student also, in society also. So I think it's a responsibility of everyone's, it's teacher also as well as parents also. uh, I have also query one questions, and I have also got clarity of it also, that small kids have more number of questions, more number of query than a younger child. So if we give the human value to the parents or even the primary education system, then it will be better, it will be much more beneficial for the society as well as universe. That, thank you. Yogesh sir.
Thank you, Avinash. Please mute your mic.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Nishant. Nishant Michael. Please unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. If you are having camera, then you can switch on camera also.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
It is up to you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
good afternoon to everyone present here. Actually, to talk about this FDP, I have handled this course like it is like professional ethics and human values. So this course I've handled twice, but this is the first of a kind of an FDP where I have attended, where I had got ideas like instead of just being like just telling what it is, you can actually like few of the examples which were shared by sir, where telling practical stories so that we can bond with the student. Usually, as sir also very rightly said that before we start applying this to the students, we should first apply to our level, because most of the speakers were very clearly specifying about that. So because most of them will have an idea of these human values, these universal human values, but most of the cases what happens that we ourselves don't apply these values. So through this FDP, that was an eye opener that before we apply it to the students, first we ourselves should have that kind of a the happiness quotient or whatever was being discussed during this FDP. And so this was the great learning which I had learned, so that for the next student induction when it is coming, so I would talk with our college management that this can be applied for the students for the new batch. And talking about the collaborative learning, so being basically I am from Goa over here, so it would be the best, because for this particular region, probably if any possible contacts I could get, it would be better that we could collaborate also, sir. So ultimately it was a great learning experience for me, especially with the typical examples which were given, where if, each of the participant I'm sure could actually relate, because they would have experienced those same scenarios, and it was very helpful, and thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, Nishant, please mute your mic. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Meena, ma'am, if you can hear my voice, please unmute your mic if you want to hear. Meena, ma'am, I think my voice is not reaching to Dr. Meena. Okay, so next we have Ravindra Yadav. Ravindra Yadav, please unmute your mic. Ravindra Yadav, can you hear me? Ravindra, you need to unmute your mic. Okay. Venu Gopal.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Very good, very good. Okay.
Yeah, this is.
So you can. Yes.
Yeah, this is Dr. Venugopal. I am working as assistant professor. So in the Government College of Engineering in Chemistry Department in Salem. Actually, it's in western part of Tamil Nadu. So we have been handling the student induction program for the past 2 years. So what I learned from this FDP is talking about the self. So how I act, what is the self-esteem in me? So what are the self-perspectives? What is meant by happiness? So how I can transfer my happiness to the family members? So how I can transfer my happiness to the students? So these are the key points which I learned, and what are the steps so I can take towards this achievement. So this is important because as an first year faculty, we have been given the responsibility to conduct the induction program. So we will be having a hard time always, probably 21 days of induction program for us. So 21 days for us would be like an hard time because all the students are new to us. So they are basically we are nearly a rural background. So basically they will be coming from a rural background and from the government schools. So we'll be seeing different kinds of students, one from an high end, another from an low end. So talking about, taking these self values and reaching them to this, to the student is would be very useful. So this is what I learned from this. And the takeaway from this FDP is the knowledge. So I will be more interested. I will work more interestingly in the coming induction program for the 20 days. Probably Government of India has said the first year will open up November 1st. So probably we will be first handling the first year students. So we will be working more efficiently. And the collaborative always it's a welcome thing to our institution because government institution. So we'll be always interested and we'll be always willing to have a collaborative work with the NITs and the IITs. So this is my feedback, and I thank all the organizers, particularly Raju sir and Yogesh sir, for giving the opportunity to talk in this FDP. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Venugopal. Ravindra Yadav, if you can hear my voice, kindly unmute your mic. Okay, I think everybody has shared, have completed their sharing. So I have only one announcement for which everybody is waiting. Rajiv sir, you want to say something? Otherwise, I will announce about the participation certificate.
No, I don't have to add anything.
Okay.
I think this idea of collaborative workshops being held region-wise, I think it's a very good idea. And we should be conducting part of these workshops in regional languages, including